What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so this is the HaVD thoughts. I'm not going to have my back to you for just a moment because I'm trying some stuff out. Something that seems impossible, which is to be able to see live comments. And I, genuinely speaking, do not know if I can do this, but the only way to test it is to see whether or not it actually works. So I'm going to be trying to see live comments on a video that I'm currently watching. I'm going to turn the volume down because I don't think this is going to work. It's going to be like echoey. Virgil still is live. Okay, here we go. I'm going to click this video. And I genuinely do not know if I can do this, but be quiet! Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm streaming and I'm recording at the same time. So theoretically, this time I'm going to be able to see live comments, and I hope my video is not as bad as it looks. So hopefully this isn't too laggy. I really have no idea though. But anyways, with that being said, welcome to HaVD Thoughts. Again, like I said, I'm testing out whether or not I can get live videos. Hello, Abigail. Huh?
Here.
What?
I have my books up here.
Okay, go get your book. We've had a lot happen recently, and I'm sorry that I've not been on HaVD Thoughts. I wasn't on last week. It was just, we've been moving. I'm going to be moving to Tucson, Arizona, and I'm very excited because it seems to be a very flourishing Messianic community down there, and my hope is that, and by the way, so I got a rash, and so I shaved my beard, and so now I look like a fat bum, and I've just been really, really busy. It's just been, every single day has been a lot with work, so I haven't been as involved as probably I should have. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple of sources that really interested me that I watched recently, and just to mention B'nai Avraham. I watched one of their videos on YouTube, and let's just say I highly recommend watch their videos. They actually have some great insight. B'nai Avraham is, in an external view, one would look at B'nai Avraham and say they're just a really strict Messianic community, or Messianic Jews that are trying to be like Orthodox. That's not correct, and I think you'd have to know B'nai Avraham's doctrine to really know this, but they're actually really Orthodox as much as possible. They're Orthodox Jews. At least from my perspective, and if I've got it wrong, I'm sorry. They're Orthodox Jews that believe that Jesus is the Messiah. But in most other respects, they're Orthodox Jews, and they try to, as best, model their way around that. But they're great people from Texas. Mayim, and just fantastic people, very nice, very friendly. And I think they have like a synagogue like out of their own home. I think they may even have their own mikveh. These are very friendly folks, and what's really neat is they've got some great teaching, just insights into the Word, especially as I was listening today about Eliyahu, or Elijah. This guy had a tremendous insight about how Elijah literally wanted to just commit suicide and give up, but God had greater plans for him, and that sometimes we become weary and well doing. It's just fantastic teachings, and I'll be putting their videos up as well. Give a shout out to my Rabbi Yehuda Ben Shomer. This guy is still making great videos, and if you're looking to get into good Messianic teaching and to know what Messianics are about, well, again, a lot of these people don't identify as Messianic. Like, I don't identify as Messianic, but we really are kind of part of the messianic extended family, I guess you could say, because even the Orthodox Jews that believe in Jesus, I'm not sure if you would consider them part of the Messianic community. I know that they probably wouldn't consider themselves, but Netzari definitely are part of the Messianic community. And Rabbi Yehuda Ben Shomeri has some great teachings on that. So I would be remiss to not at least mention anecdotally, and that's all I will do, the Black Lives Matter thing. And the only thing that I will mention is this. 3 words. Black Lives Matter. Those 3 words should not inspire hatred in anyone. It's just a fact. Those 3 words should never make people angry or pissed off, or make people want to fight, or make people hateful. They should never do that, because it's an understood truth that Black Lives Matter. Make no mistake, the government and the principalities and the powers and the elements and the rulers of the darkness of this world have control over our media. And just because we feel like the left or the right has control and are therefore swaying us, the reality is that evil has control over the media. It's more obvious in places like Facebook and cancel culture and so on and so forth, but the reality is that evil does. The worst thing that I can imagine is that somebody hears the words Black Lives Matter and their response is, no they don't. And the response turns that way because Black Lives Matter is being utilized by some individuals in order to incite violence against black people, in order to paint black people as rioters, to paint black people as the enemy. And there are numerous situations where law enforcement has absolutely killed black people. There are numerous times where law enforcement has also unlawfully killed white people, and all of that killing has stopped. But the fact is that we have created a situation where whenever a black person talks about their rights, because of this sort of rioting and looting and Satan using this message for a message of evil, the message of what happened, but I'm not going to go into it. The message of what happened should trigger a response of deep, solemn sympathy and a desire to not want it to happen again. What it has triggered is a racial divide between cultures, which are both at fault to some extent for this situation. The reality is that we need to never forget that black lives do matter. And we need to forget, and also never forget, that all lives do matter. Not one mutually exclusive of the other, or one used as a weapon against other. There's no dog in this fight. What happened to him was wrong. So I'm just going to leave it at that and just say that Satan is playing you people. And by the way, when I said you people, I didn't mean black people. I meant like all y'all. Black, white, the Republicans, Democrats. He's playing you like a fiddle so that you can tear each other apart. And that's just exactly what I'm so concerned that people do. I am a pacifist. Or at least my desire is greatest to be a pacifist. I don't believe that any shedding of blood is necessary for the remission of sins, but besides that of Jesus who died on the cross for us. That's the only blood that needs to be shed to answer for other people's crimes. The rest of the people should try to find a way to resolve things peacefully, and not in a way that puts any sort of ethnic group elated above the others. So that's just my viewpoint. I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, I got a like. Oh, look at that. Hey, Jeremy Cunningham. Hello, how are you, sir? Hey, I've been trying to call you for forever, by the way. If you would please answer your phone, Jeremy Cunningham. Please answer your phone and call me back. Okay, anyways. So moving on, I wanted to read something to you for this Havdalah. So I thought this was interesting. Let's see. Zechariah 8:9. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong that hear in these days. Hold up, I'm going to message Jeremy Cunningham and let him know I'm trying to call him. Jeremy Cunningham. I have been trying to call you. There we go. Now he knows. Hello, Isaac. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I wanted to read this to you. Says Zechariah 8:9. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the hosts of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. For before those days, sorry, I'm losing my point here. So before these days there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beast, neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. For I set every one against his neighbor. But now I will not be unto the residue of this people as in the former days, saith the Lord of hosts. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit. The ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their due. And I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah, the Jewish people, just saying. Hello, Donovan McGinnis. Good to see you, buddy. Hello. Looks like it's kind of like, there we go, cutting out. Good to see you, buddy. There we go. Okay, so back to where I was saying. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah, the Jewish people, and house of Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. To people with a Christian background, nothing negative, but just imagine for a moment that it was always God's plan to return Israel to the Jewish people. That was always God's plan. And that God is still alive in Israel today, still moving in Israel today, and vested in Israel's future. Imagine a concept before the idea that the church just suddenly replaced Israel, but that Israel itself still has yet a story to play, and still has yet a life and a purpose before Hashem. So, and it shall come to pass that as you were a curse among the heathens, O house of Judah and house of Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, as I thought to punish you when your fathers provoked me to wrath, saith the Lord of hosts, and I repented not. Now, as we go down here, this is the crux of this video, the important part here, is that thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold of all languages of the nation, and shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. Now, those days never really came to pass. I'm just saying. And it's almost a little bit hilarious. Those days never did come to pass. There was never a situation, with the exception maybe of the Khazar Empire, which I think was probably a little bit overblown as far as their effect on the Ashkenazi culture, if at all, honestly. This never really happened. That people from all languages and all nations took hold of the skirt, not the skin. That's weird. Take hold of his foreskin. It's a horrible joke. So, shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. This is a prophetic concept that is possible to occur. That people from all nations, that Israel would return. It's the reason why me and Isaac basically have the same message. And I love that guy, like straight up Isaac. So, anyways, we have basically the same message, which is to say that there is strong evidence in the Bible to talk about a return of Israel. A return of Israel being called out from all nations. Well, what does this mean? What does this have to do with us? And the truth is that if Israel ever was called out of nations, there probably would not be genetic evidence to define who is or who is not Israel. And there is that open-ended clause in the Torah that anyone who wants to pick it up can. Anyone who wants to identify and be part of Israel can. Actually, it's kind of a shame that the Gentiles stopped becoming a part of Israel. They started to see the Jewish people as an enemy, not understanding that they were God's anointed. They were God's anointed people, and He has a place for them throughout history. We are so caught up in our denominational differences that it's hard to see the reality outside of what people have told us. Just think about it when you're driving down the road. You get in a car accident. You die. What happens after that? The reality is that is a massive question that nobody really knows. I mean, people will say they know for sure. They may be convinced they know for sure, but nobody actually knows for sure. It then boils down to, who are you going to believe? And the reality is that Israel has been 6,000 years the oldest religion, the most proven religion, the most organized religion that we have had, that it even goes beyond the term religion itself. Judaism maintains throughout all of that. Even through Christianity, even through Yeshua HaMashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, who was a believing Jew. So I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, didn't really mean to comment on the politics, just saying that, hey, let's not turn this into a fight, a racial divide. That'd be cool. Yeah, so let's not let it go there. I know people are egging you and really want to go, just don't take it there. Just don't. So, that's that. And I hope to see you next week in Arizona. But probably not. It'll probably be right here. Leah and I hope you have a good week. And I guess happy Havdalah. Oh, look at this. I got a question from Donovan McGinnis. Okay. Well, what is your opinion on the president officially acknowledging the capital of Israel and the deal that he came up with the Palestinians and the Israeli people? Okay, so first of all, it's very meaningful to religious Jews that Donald Trump made the capital of Israel Jerusalem. So that is very meaningful to those that are religious. any religious Jew. It doesn't matter really what their background. I think even Karaites would agree that that's a significant thing. That being said, according to at least one person, Rabbi Asher Meza, he says like 50% of Israel's non-religious. So if they're non-religious, I think probably 50% of Israel is. One second, sorry. I think 50% of Israel is probably liberal, very liberal. And if you look at Tel Aviv, it's like, I'm not trying to say nothing negative against homosexuality. Really, I'm not. I'm just saying Tel Aviv is queer central. Like, they have a transgender drag queen, like, of the earth award or something. Anyways, so what about the deal that he made with the Palestinian and the Israeli people? That wasn't a deal, dude. That was like, I'm not even sure what Netanyahu thinks he's going to do. Poor old Bibi doesn't know what to do with that deal, because the reality was Donald Trump just gave Israel a blank check saying, yeah, do what you want, annex what we want, we'll support you. And I think Netanyahu is probably more like, if I do this, it's going to be bloody bloodshed, war, and it's going to go horrible. So I don't know. It's a bad deal. It's a horrible deal. I mean, it's a good deal for the Jewish people, but it's a deal that ultimately ends in war, because it allows Israel to annex Palestinian territories, and they don't annex enough as far as Palestinians, and their hatred of the Jews is legendary. They will kill like Jews that are completely irreligious and fight for their political rights. They will still be happy with killing those Jews. 100% Hamas would. So the reality is yes, it's a deal that is completely unrealistic, and I hope Netanyahu, that the whole party up there, can come up with a way of implementing that deal and sway it to work. But then again, the deal's not going to work. I mean, it's going to turn into war or not. So, anyways, answer that question. If nobody else has any other questions, thank you for watching, and Latrios. Finally going away now. I responded. Okay, there we go. So that's it, and I got to figure out how to shut this thing off.